Yo, what's good? Welcome back to Max Codes. Today I'm going to show you how we can build out this application you see here on the screen. So basically what this is a UITabBarController down here. You see this, right? So what we want to do is make it so we can have a clear background on this. We don't want to have that white or colored background. We want a clear background, and we want to have these nice little icons down here. Okay, now I grabbed these icons from my Udemy course, but they're linked in the bio. Okay, not the Udemy course, the icons. You can download these icons in the bio. Okay, so they're free, they're in the bio, they're in my Dropbox. Just go ahead, click the link, and you can get the same icons. Now feel free to use your own icons. Obviously you're going to want to. These aren't really good like icons for an app, but they work, right? It has the three sizes and it works to show you this example. Okay, same with the images. I got them from unsplash.com. But yeah, let's get started by going to let's go to Xcode and create a new project. All right, so let's see, how do I do this? I already forgot. All right, so I'm gonna go to the top here. It's simulator, huh? All right, so I'm gonna create a new Xcode project. All right, so just open up Xcode, get a new project going. All right. Now what we want to do is select single view app, and we're just going to call this clear UI tab bar or something, clear tab bar. It doesn't matter. Okay, obviously it doesn't matter. And I'm going to uncheck use core data. We don't need that extra code. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this project here, and let's get started. Also, feel free to leave suggestions in the comments and what you want to see from this channel, just as this is loading up. Just wanted to say that. Okay, so first thing we want to do is, here on this channel, I don't like to use storyboards. So let's go ahead and get rid of our main storyboard. We're going to keep the launch screen because that doesn't matter and we kind of need it. Well, we don't need it, but anyway, we're going to keep the launch screen, delete the main storyboard, and let's go into our info P list. And what we're going to want to do, if you just delete the main storyboard, it's not really going to compile very well. Let me select the iPhone X simulator. And basically what's going to happen if you do that is it's going to crash and say there's no main storyboard. And the reason being is because in info P list, we're saying that we have to use this main storyboard file base name. So go ahead and delete that. All right. So this is where the video is really starting, okay? We've created this project and got rid of storyboard. Let's write some code. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to go into our ViewController. After I stopped that, it crashed, okay? Obviously, because I told you it would. But yeah, let's recompile that and it'll work, okay? Let's go into our ViewController, and first thing I want to do really is I want to get those images in there, because you'll notice that in NoBar, this application I built just a second ago to be able to show you this, what I did was I put in background images. Now you don't have to do this, but I think it's a good way to see something, right? To see the background, because if you don't, you won't be able to tell that it's clear. So just add these in. It'll take 2 seconds and you'll learn a bit more if you don't already know how to do this. Okay, so in ViewController, what we want to do is we want to say let bg is equal to UI image view. And then in here, we're going to take in an image, and this is going to be a UI image with a name, so named, and we're just going to say bg.jpg. Okay, now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to get an image for this, okay? Or you can get the one in my link, my description there, okay? So go ahead and do that if you want, and we're going to use that image, okay? So I'm going to go to my assets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag those from my other screen here. Okay, so just make sure you're using some images here. I'm using this picture of these shoes right here, okay, and this picture as well. Okay, so the two that you see in the example. Again, they're in the bio or in the description. And if you can use your own images, you can go to Unsplash and get some. They're all free. Anyway. Yeah, we got our images in our application. Okay, now this isn't our current application, this is the demo. I'm just showing you that we are using those images for that purpose. Okay, this is our app right now, completely black and empty. Okay, so ViewController, we have BG and BG3, I guess I named it. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to use just BG, right? Don't worry about the second one for now. We're just going to get the first one in, and then we'll copy this view controller to get the second one. Okay, so let's say BG frame is equal to view.frame. And normally doing stuff like this, I would be using auto layout constraints programmatically. But since this is just like not really focused on positioning stuff too much, and it's more so supposed to be on the tab bar, I'm just using view.frame because it's really quick. Okay, so let's say that it is scale aspect fill, and we're going to add it to the subview. Okay, so that's all we have to do. Now, if we reload our application, we're not going to see anything, and that's because in our app delegate, we haven't specified that this is our view controller. Okay, so what I want to do is go over to our app delegate, and not sure why I did that. Okay, let's go to our app delegate, and what we want to do is get rid of this comment in application did finish launching with options. And next thing we want to do is we want to basically set this, create our custom TabBarController, okay? So it's gonna be a UITabBarController, and then we're gonna set it as our root view controller, okay? So let's just try our view controller first though, just to make sure things are working. So we're gonna be using window here, and we're gonna say window is equal to UI window, and window.root view controller is equal to view controller. Okay, so we're calling the class view controller. Okay, so let me accidentally started building it. All right, there we go. So yeah, what we want to do is we want to use an instance of view controller. Notice how it's named view controller. Okay, so we are using that here. All right, so that's our root view controller. Now, next thing we have to do to get this working is just say window.make key invisible, and that should be good. Okay. Now let's go ahead and reload our application. So you can hit Command R, or you can just hit this play button up here to get it running. Okay, so next thing we want to do is look at our application. You'll see that we have our image in there. Okay, so that's really great, but we don't really have this tab bar down here. And let me just switch over to my app that I built, right? So we have the image, but we don't have this tab bar that's clear, and we don't have it switching. So next thing we want to do is we want to basically just go set up our other view controller just so we have it ready, okay? So let's go to ViewController.Swift, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna store it in here since it's such a small thing. We could even pass in a custom parameter and just like do it like that, but I wanna be really quick on these just so I can show you the tab bar. So let's copy this entire class, and let's just call this ViewController2, right? ViewController2. As a matter of fact, let's call it ViewController3 just because the image in here is called BG3, so I just want to be consistent with that. That might have just made everything way more confusing, but whatever, we'll see. If you really want to figure this out, you'll be able to figure this video out, okay? So yeah, BG3 is going to be for this one, okay? So we have ViewController3 and ViewController. Those are our two view controllers. Next thing we want to do is say BG, and then let's say 3. Okay, now obviously yours might be different, but for me, this is BG and BG3, okay? I accidentally copied it. Anyway, point is, I'm trying to keep this clear, this video very clear, and yeah, it might be a little confusing, but I mean, like, you're a programmer, you solve problems, right? So let's just figure it out. All right, so we have view controller and view controller 3, and it's referencing a different image. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to test it out, okay? So right now what's happening in our app is we're seeing this, right? So when we say view controller 3 instead of view controller on the right side of my screen here, you'll notice that it loads up that other image. Now, again, I know there's going to be people freaking out saying, oh, but you need to like pass in a custom parameter that's just the image name. Yeah, I know that's a better implementation, but we're not really concerned about the view controllers here. We're concerned about the tab bar. Okay, anyway, we got our view controllers ready, okay? So next thing we need to do is we need to develop our tab bar controller, okay? So that's going to be pretty simple, and it's going to be the bulk of this video. All right, we've kind of just got things set up. Okay, so what we need to do is create a tab bar controller, a custom tab bar controller. So let's go to our folder here, and let's create a new file. It's going to be a Swift file, and we're going to call it custom tab bar controller. All right, we have our new file. Let's import UIKit instead of foundation. And in here, we're going to define a new class, okay? So let's say class custom tab bar controller. It's going to be of type UITabBarController, and it's going to use the UITabBarController delegate, okay? It's going to conform to that protocol. So in here, we need to first add in a ViewDidLoad, like our other view controllers that we already have. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to say delegate is equal to self. Okay, this will allow us to have access to our delegate methods. All right, now if this doesn't make sense, just keep going through this video and you'll come to realize how this all works eventually, even if it's after the video, okay? All right, so next thing we're gonna implement is the first delegate method that we need, okay? So this is gonna be function TabBar, and then we're gonna wanna select should select, okay? So let's see, should select, should be in here somewhere. Should select, okay. Is it this one? Should select, yeah, it's this one, okay. And basically we just wanna return true. Now let's see what this says, okay? I'm gonna command click into here and hit show quick help. And it looks like there's no description, whatever. You can figure it out if you Google it and go to the Apple developer documentation. I'm just showing you how to get it working, and then you can do all the studying and figure out how it really works under the hood. All right, next thing we want to do is set up our view controllers. So let's create a separate method and let's call it SetupViewControllers. And in here, this is where we're going to basically set up our view controllers that we just made in ViewController.swift. So I'm going to say function SetupViewControllers. And in here, what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to create some basically nav controllers, okay? We're going to want to take our UI view controllers and create nav controllers. All right, a nav controller is basically a UI view controller with an image at the bottom, all right, that we can put inside of our tab bar. Okay, so think of it like this. We have our view controller, and then we have our nav controller, which contains a view controller. And then our tab bar controller contains a set of nav controllers, okay? It doesn't contain the view controllers directly, it contains the nav controllers. So let's set that up now by saying, well, let's create a function outside of this class that we can generate one with, okay? Because we want to basically be able to create as many as we want, not just one, not just two, right? And we could easily just write that over and over again, but it'd be nice to have a little template, okay? A nice little class, but not really a class, okay? Just a function that returns what we need. So really simple. Feel free to make this a class if you want, this function I'm typing out. So I'm going to call this template NavController. And I'm pretty sure I learned this from Let's Build That App from Brian in his Instagram course. Maybe it was a different course. I take all his courses. I really recommend them. They're really good. Anyway, I'm assuming you know who he is. And if you don't, Google Let's Build That App. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to pass in a root view controller. Okay, now what this root view controller is our view controller, okay? The one you see on the screen right now, that's ViewController 3, remember? We want to use that one in here, and we want to use the other one in here, okay? Next thing we want to do is we want to basically give it an unselected image and a selected image. Well, we don't need to do that because we're only using one image. So let's just say image, okay? And then we're going to have this be of type UI image, and let me just expand this. Let's see, I'm going to expand this so you can see this a little bit better and zoom in a bit. Okay, so we have function, template, nav controller, view controller, and image. Okay, so the image is basically going to be the image, obviously, pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be the little button, the little checker plus that I'm using in this example. Okay, next thing we want to do is have it return a UI navigation controller. All right, that's interesting, that syntax. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to say let view controller, and we don't really have to do this part, so let's not do that. Let's just say this. Let's say let nav controller, and let's get rid of that chat with my dad and my brother. Okay, let nav controller is equal to custom nav controller, and that's the thing. We're going to want to create that as well. So to hide the status bar, to make it light at least. Well, we don't need to do that yet. So let's say this. Let's say let nav controller is equal to UI nav controller, UI navigation controller. Okay. Now what we want to do is say that the root view controller is of root view controller, right? The one we just passed in here, right? Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to say NavController.TabBarItem.image is equal to image. Okay, so we're going to set the image. Next thing we're going to do is just return the NavController. Okay, so obviously this is really simple, and we could easily have just typed this out twice, but I want to show you the power of like reusing code, right? We don't want to write this a million times if we were to have like 5 items, say, in our tab bar. And this could get more complex. We could add a selected image. We could do a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create these now in our view did load here, or in our setup view controllers. So let's say let's just call it first is equal to template NavController, and we're going to have it taken ViewController, not ViewController 3, but ViewController. And if this is going fast, just let me know in the comments, and obviously they'll slow them down in next videos, but just get through it in this video. Okay, the image, this is where we're going to have to add in our other images, okay? So let's go ahead and just take a mental note of where we're at, and let's drag those images in, okay? So those are in the link in the bio, not the bio, I'm so used to Instagram, the description, okay? Follow me on Instagram if you want to, by the way. Anyway, what we're going to do is we are going to take those icons and throw them in. Oh, shoot, I didn't open up assets. Okay, so we're going to throw them in our assets. Okay, so these are, again, in the bio or description. All right, and there's 3 sizes. Now, this is really important that these sizes are correct. Okay, so I'm not going to explain too much about what the sizes are. But what I'd recommend you do is look at these sizes, all right? So hit like show in Finder when you import these or download them, and just take note of the sizes of each of these. Notice how this is 120. Notice how this first one is 60. So you can think of it like this. We got 60, and then times 2 is going to be 120 because 60 times 2 is 120. And then times 3, as you can imagine, is going to be 60 times 3, right? Which is 180. Okay, so that's general. Those are the sizes I use for every single one of my icons, little icons in my app. Feel free to figure out what works. I think this is a really perfect size though. Okay, so those are our icons. We call it the add icon and the done icon. All right, excellent. So UI image, add icon, done icon. So in here, we can do it in a couple ways. All right, a nice way I like to do it is using image literals. If you just type in image and it will say literal, and basically you'll see this little icon. You click on it and you can select it. All right. Now another way of doing it is the exact same way we did it in the let's see, where is it? In here, right? UI image named. You can do it that way too. Now I'm not going to really worry about explaining how to do that exactly, just because you should be able to do that at this point. Okay, so I've copied this and I've pasted it here. All right, and I'm just going to call this second, and we're going to have it not be ViewController, we're going to have it be ViewController 3. Okay, so it uses the one with the second image, and then obviously we passed in the check icon. Okay, so we have our ViewController set up. What we're going to want to do now is we are going to want to use these in our tab bar, okay? Okay, so this is taking forever, but let's go ahead and do this. Let's say ViewControllers, and this is referring to the ViewControllers on the TabBarController. So you could also say self.ViewControllers, but I'm going to say ViewControllers. It's referring to the instance of this class's ViewControllers, okay? And we're going to put in first and second, and we are going to see what this looks like now, okay? It shouldn't be clear at this point. Not the video. I hope this is clear. What I'm saying is the background of the TabBarController shouldn't be clear at this point. Let's go ahead and check it and see what it looks like. All right, cool. Build succeeded. I'm gonna pull this to the right a bit. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so it looks like we can't see anything, and that's because we're not using our TabBarController yet. Okay, we're using the ViewController still in our app delegate. So let's switch over to our app delegate, and instead of saying ViewController 3, what we want to do is we want to say custom TabBarController. We want to use our custom controller. Okay, so relaunch the application and let's see where this gets us. All right. Let's see what it looks like. And yeah, this is perfect. Okay, so you've probably already got to this point in your own applications, right? So I'll put this in the description as well, like where the clear part starts, right? Just so you can hop to this point if you're already at this point with your own app. Okay, so the idea here is that we want to get this right here and this right here to be clear, right? Because in here, this is the desired effect. Okay. So let's go ahead and figure out how to do that. I'm going to flip back over to our app. All right. And what we want to do is we want to figure out how we can do this. Okay. So first thing I want to do, I'm not going to switch the tint color. You'll notice that in my app, the color of the plus is like a nice little blue, the same one I used in my app Pocket Papers. I'm not going to switch that. We're just going to use this blue. All right. Now, the trick to doing this is setting an image, right? A clear image as the background, okay? So it's kind of counterintuitive. You might think that you just set the background to clear or something. It might be a property, but really the trick here is to set it as an image, make that image transparent, okay? So let's go ahead and write a function that can provide us with that image by writing it, okay? We need to write it using core graphics. Or I can't remember how to do it. I'm trying to think. Okay, so let's go to let's go into our custom TabBarController and let's just write it in here. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to say in here function get image. Let's say get clear image or something. Let's say get colored image, because technically we don't have to make it clear the way we're writing this. And let's say color, UI color, and let's say size, CG size. Those are our parameters here. I'm gonna pull this over, and then let's have it return a UI image. Okay, now in here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna define our rectangle. Okay, so let's say let rect is equal to CG rect, and it's gonna take in a origin and size, okay? Or you can do the X, Y, width, height parameter set. Okay, so I'm just gonna say CG point. I think this is the parameter, if I just saw correctly, and just say 0, 0, okay? Now for the size, we're gonna take in the size that we just passed in as a parameter. Okay, so this size parameter right here. Next thing we wanna do is we wanna say UI graphics begin context with options. So this is pretty raw programming, in my opinion. Well, I guess it's not an opinion. It seems like a fact, but maybe I'm wrong. Seems pretty raw. Okay, so UI graphics begin image context with options. We want to take in the size, and we want to say false to opaque, because we don't want it to be opaque. We want it to be clear. And then let's say scale 0. Okay. Next thing we want to do is say color dot set fill. So it says sets the color of subsequent fill operations to the color that the receiver represents, whatever that means. Just kidding. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to say UI rect fill, and then let's see what the description of that is. Fills the specified rectangle with the current color. Let's pass in the rect, and let's now generate our image. Okay, so we're just going to end the we're going to get the image from the context, right? So we began it here. We want to get it now. So let's say let image. It's going to be of type UI image. I don't know if you need to declare this or not. I literally just did this like not too long ago, like 10 minutes ago. UI image is equal to UI graphics get image from current image context. So it says returns an image based on the contents of the current bitmap based graphics text. Okay, so notice how it says current. That's because we just started it up here. So it's the current one. It's not like one we did 10 minutes ago, right? It's the current one in memory. Okay, so let's rewrite that so we can get the autocomplete. UI graphics get image from current image context. Okay, now it might have us, yeah, okay. So it says value of optional type UI image. So we need to unwrap it or use something like guard let. Okay, so what we could do is we could say guard let image is equal to UI image equals UI graphics get image from current image context, and then we could say else and then just return 0 or something, return nil. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to say hey, let's get this image. If it's not an image, okay, I forgot how to do guards. Guard let else return. I guess it just returns. Okay, so we're saying, okay, get this image. If it's not an image, what the freak? This should work. Non-void function should return a value. I guess we're saying it's an image, and that's why. Okay, so guard let image. We could even do this. UI image. That should work. Should. Okay, so we're saying, okay, get this image. If it's not an image for whatever reason, let's just return an empty image, which it will be an image, okay? But we have to do it this way just in case, okay? Now what we want to do, this is good programming. It's clean, okay? Just in case, like, you, for whatever reason, something changed. We'd have this in place so it wouldn't crash our app. It would just return us an image. All right. So what we want to do now is we want to basically return this image because this is the image that we're going to use. And before we return it, let's end the context. So let's say UI graphics end image context. Let's see what it says just so you can see that. Removes the current bitmap based graphics context from the top of the stack. So it's going to clear up some memory. It's going to end it. We don't need it anymore. Let's end it. And now let's return the image. Okay, so kind of a long function here. Feel free to look further into this, but I'm not going to explain too much about how this all works. Okay, maybe I'll make a little series on this kind of stuff at some point. Let me know in the comments if you want that. All right, so what we want to do now is we want to actually use this function. As of right now, we're not doing anything else, correct? Right? We're just right here again, okay? We're still at this point. But now we have this function that we can get an image from. So what we need to do is we need to say in here in our setup view controllers, let's say TabBarController image is equal to get image. Let's see what background image says. The custom background image for the tab bar, okay, is equal to get colored image, and we're going to pass in .clear as the color, and the size is going to be CG size, and we'll just say view.frame.width, and we'll say 100 for the height. Okay, let's go ahead and reload our application and see what this looks like. If you're stuck, just look at the source code in the description, give it a star on GitHub so it looks like I'm cool on GitHub or something, I don't know, or pause the video. Okay, you'll see now that we have this clear bottom at the back, or this clear tab bar, so that's exactly what we want. But let's go, just to add this in, let's go and get this top part clear as well. Okay, now we're gonna do this in our app delegate, all right? So let's go to our app delegate.swift, and what we need to do is we need to say UI navigation bar, since it's the top, .appearance, and let's say, I'm gonna try this. I do it it's a three-line process, okay? But I'm gonna do it backwards just to see how it works because I haven't done this before. So UI navigation bar .appearance, and I believe that you can't autocomplete this. There's no autocomplete for this, so just type this out. Is translucent is equal to true. Okay, now if this works immediately, then it's only a one-line process, but it's taken me 3 lines in the past. Okay, yeah, see, it's not any different. Okay, let's write a line above this, and let's say UI navigation bar .appearance .shadow image. Oh, now I remember. Okay, so shadow image is equal to UI image, an empty image. Okay, now let's reload our application or recompile it. I say reload a lot for the React apps that I show how to build because you just reload the page and it recompiles. Okay, so it's still not working. So let's add in one more line and this will complete it. So let's say UI navigation bar .appearance .set background image. Ooh, that autocomplete is not there. And we're gonna have this taken an image, and we're gonna say it's for UI bar metrics.default. Specifies the default metrics for the device. Okay, let's reload our application, recompile it, and see what it looks like. Ooh, that should be it. All right, sweet. It is done. I probably could have done that quicker and cleaner, but This is like my 7th, 6th video, 8th video, I don't know. So I'm getting there. But yeah, let me know what you want to see in future videos. That's it for this video. Let me know if you want me to build a specific app for this and put it on Udemy or something. I have some Udemy courses, so I'm going to migrate those to my personal website because I don't like Udemy. I think they're fiends. Just kidding. Udemy's chill. Let's go ahead and I actually take a ton of courses from Udemy, so I'm not talking down on Udemy. I actually really enjoy Udemy. All right, so now that I'm done rambling, let's see. I want to try one thing before I end it. I'm going to get rid of these 2 lines and just see if it works, because it seemed like that was the only line that really did anything, but it might require those 2 lines. So I just want to play around with it on video. All right, it looks like it's still there, but you'll see that there's a line. Maybe it got rid of that line. Oh, I think it did. You see how there's the line right there? But then in this one, there's no line. That's interesting. Let's uncomment shadow image. I think it might be the shadow image. And let's see if that line goes away. It is a really faint line. You probably didn't even see it, but you might be able to see it on your own device. Okay. Okay, yeah, looks like the image is gone now. That's kind of cool. So is translucent? Not sure what that does. Let's see. I guess it would have been there since I had this one with it and this one without it. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I don't want this video to be too long. I probably should have ended it already. But yeah, that's how you do that. Just let me know in the description what else you'd like to see and what else you'd like on tab bars, whatever you want. I'll figure it out and show you how to do it. And yeah, catch y'all homies later.